Hi everyone, this is Rukhsh, CMX Community Manager, and we'll be having a session today regarding the AI ML, right? So first of all, let me explain to you what the CMX is all about. Its community is a place where people who share common interests gather to have a conversation and build relationships. And in today's digital era, the world is connected more than ever, still couldn't find with the real community. So it's no longer a nice to have, but an integral part of any business, be it service or production sector. So everybody can hear me voice? All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I can hear your voice.
Yeah. So CMX Connect platform is exactly what community building is all about. This platform is about raising awareness of community building for all those professionals who need to understand the value of community building. A community by developing a sheer sense of identity and belonging towards the community. So CMX connects and all the professionals and helps community builders to thrive in their work by providing them the platform to connect with other professionals. So coming to the topic, today's session is about the artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we have arranged a workshop today, and it's actually a second workshop. Due to the corona pandemic issue, we have to arrange the workshop online. Previously, it was in person. So CMX Connect Lahore has arranged a workshop where you may get an opportunity to engage a discussion. So let me introduce you to our panelists. We have Mr. Mazhar Javed. He is an assistant professor at UMT Lahore and works as a data scientist and analytics trainer. And we have Ms. Mehak Narmeen. She's also a data scientist and works as a senior consultant at AlphaBold. And lastly, we have Mr. Dr. Hassan Amin. He's also a data scientist and works at I2C. First of all, thank you for taking out time for making this session happen. And I'll just give a brief intro of what AI is, and then you can have a discussion over it. While we are living in a tech environment where technology is taking over human intellect and behavior, that technology is artificial intelligence. And with the help of statistical data, the AI has implemented this process called machine learning. But to have a clear view of what AI and ML is all about, we have with us experts. So we have some questions we can engage with the panelists we have over here. The basic question everybody have in our mind is that what is artificial intelligence and what is machine learning is all about. So hi, Mr. Hassan. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. So please, can you tell us briefly what is machine learning and the difference between the machine learning, AI, and how it is, and what do you think, why it is important to know the difference between them?
Okay. Thank you, Ruh. Thank you for inviting me, for having me. So this is an important question that comes to our mind, not only, and this is important to answer, not only from an academic discussion point of view, but also from, from an industrial point of view. If you want to work in an employed way, you want to get your organization started on in this domain, you have to understand this question. So AI is the mothership. So we started, dreaming about having all the capabilities that humans have, like, listening capability, speaking capability, ability to interpret visual data, ability to learn from experience. So all these things, they come under AI. Then, we started working in very, very specific domains. So machine learning is one of the specific domains within the broader domain of AI, where we develop algorithms that can learn from data usually. You can call it that can learn from our experience as well. So within AI, you can have many different domains. You can have natural language processing, you can have robotics, and many other things. Uh, but from from industry perspective, uh, you have to build things uh, from what we call business intelligence. Usually, we collect data. I mean, we collect data all the time. So if you are an e-commerce, if you are a bank, or if you are any other organization, I mean, if you are NADRA, you are a government organization, any government department, even if you are an academic institution, you are collecting a lot of data. You are collecting data about your employees, you are collecting attendance data, and all this data needs to be analyzed using a domain that we call business intelligence. So there are, two or three different, uh, areas that needs to be built on. First, you build your descriptive analysis. So you answer questions based on your experiences in the past. This is what most organizations already do in the forms of dashboards and reports. Then comes predictive analysis. So usually if you have a lot of transactional data, lot of what we call relational data, usually if you are coming from a computer science perspective, then you understand what relational databases are. So, if you have that data, then you start putting them in a data warehouse and you start answering descriptive questions using dashboards and reports. Then comes the next interesting question. So the next interesting question is that I want to predict, what Mr. Ali is going to buy next. If he's buying a T-shirt, whether I can sell him a tie as well. So if you can answer this question, then you can earn a lot more money. So similarly, if you can answer this question and you are a bank, then you can, you can make somebody, use their credit card a lot more. So you are trying to predict, you are trying to recommend. That's what, your data science does. So data science basically combines, machine learning with, with other things, with data and with AI and everything else, and it tries to predict. Sometimes it tries to prescribe as well, like prescribe like a doctor does. So it says you have got this problem, and I'm gonna suggest this method, and based on my experience, because I have lots of examples, I have learned from a million examples, I can tell you that this medicine is gonna, or if you, for example, if you stock on socks today, then by end of December, you would have increased your profit by 30% or 40% or something like that. So, based on your goals, it can prescribe you the best strategies. So you have to, as an organization and as an individual who is trying to learn, who is trying to excel in this domain, you have to pay attention to, getting the right data, analyzing it in the right way, that is descriptive analysis. Then you have to develop the, capability to predict things. And, if you are really advanced, you are looking into future like, Amazon does, then you are, you're asking questions like, can I get, 10,000 iPhones in Lahore before 20th of December? You are stocking it, and whether I would be able to sell them, So then they can prescribe to you what products you are going to stock in Pakistan by middle of this month, and you are going to sell them as well. So, so that's how you do it.
So basically, the AI is impacting our daily lives in a lot of perspectives. You mean to say?
Exactly. From a business perspective, you look at it. If you have planned it well, then you can predict the demand, and you can predict the strategies that would help you to address that demand. From an individual perspective, from if you are a data scientist, if you are a student who wants to be a data scientist, then you need to understand that how the whole cycle will be built. And if you are just a consumer, then you need to understand that they know that you are going to want it, and they know how to how to make you want it as well. If you are buying a T-shirt, they would know what other thing you are going to want. If you are buying eggs, they would know what other things they can sell you, and they are
Right.
going to create the demand as well.
All
So
right.
probably, either you can evolve yourself to be more clever and be able to outfox these algorithms, or maybe you have to live with it.
All right. So basically, the time we are having, this era we are going through, the AI has a very important impact on businesses and how they are going to run on online.
Exactly. I was looking at a study. Facebook. You guys know that Facebook has already conducted experiments where they can make you divorce your wife.
All
They
right.
can make you marry someone, or they can break your relationship. They can make you vote somebody. They can make
Uh,
you hate Imran Khan or Nawaz Sharif or Trump, whatever they want. And they can make you vote for them as well. So we are already living in this era. I mean, these are not stuff of stories anymore. This is happening to us. This has already
yeah.
happened to us as well.
All right. So, going along, I have a question with Miss Mehak, if she is online. I'm Miss Mehak.
Yes, hello.
All right, all right. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. So I have a question with you. How can we improve our skills in respect to AI and how the industry is working to cope up with the new skills for the more tech savvy, being more tech savvy?
Okay, so going forward with your question, I would just like to add in what Mr. Hassan just told us, that there is a basic difference between AI, ML, and BI. BI means business intelligence, but the problem here is most of the companies I've seen working they are basically working on BI right now, and they call it machine learning and AI, but they are not using basically AI and ML. So there are very few companies which are actually working on AI and ML. And I think Dr. Hassan and Sir Mazhar are going to agree with me on this. Recently, I was in an event where there are a lot of small startups were sitting there, and I had a talk with the owner of the Grosser app, which is a new e-commerce app in which you have seen this pandemic. It has grown a lot of business, and they were just looking for an ML expert. And I asked that guy, like, what do you actually want that person to do? And he said, we just want basic reporting and what are our sales and basic dashboards. And just like Dr. Hassan explained us, that is basically covered in BI. It is not covered in ML or AI. ML and AI are totally different fields, and a lot of people are basically confused between the difference, and that is why it is important for everyone to know the basic difference between these three terms. Coming back to your question is, how can we improve the skills? So see, for skills, first of all, you need to understand what you have to do. Basically, if you have just to make some dashboards and some reports and turning your data into just insights, I think just BI is required. You do not need to put in machine learning algorithms or make a chatbot out of it. You do not need those skills if you are working on BI. So first of all, you have to just get or pick one domain you have to work in, and you have to put all your efforts in that domain. So for example, if I am a machine learning expert, you cannot expect me to work on BI just like I work on ML. Yes, I can. I'm a data scientist. I can work on BI as well, but I cannot make chatbots. I cannot work on IoT if I am working on one domain. So for getting or improving skills, you have to pick one line. You have to work on that. There are a lot of resources online available. Apart, if you are not a data scientist, you do not need a very fancy degree from a university. You have to pay thousands and thousands of fees and rupees, wasting money. If you do not have those money, you can go online You can have a Coursera or Udemy courses online. There are plenty of MOOCs available, and you can just work on them. You can gain your information and then start practicing, get assignments, start working on real-time projects. So
All
that's
right.
what I have to say.
Yeah. So do you actually think that the new startups actually understand what they actually need to get out of the AI and ML? Do they actually know how to implement by using these technologies?
I don't think so, because you see, the lot of the startup owners, they are not tech savvy guys. They do not understand technology. What they just know is they can have a website, they can have a Facebook page, they can have some Twitter or Instagram or social networking websites, and that is how they are going to sell their products or XYZ. So I don't think they have the basic knowledge until or unless they hire someone who can give that kind of information to them. So basically, they need that. For example, if I'm talking about e-commerce, and just Dr. Hassan explained that in e-commerce we can understand that how many iPhones are needed, or what shirts, or what are the shirts I'm going to buy. So these are basically some other things. So for that, I think they need to understand that the basic dashboard and reports are different. You do not need a machine learning guy to make those reports for you. Machine learning is something different. So for recommendation algorithm, you need a machine learning guy who can recommend similar kind of products on an e-commerce platform. So I don't think they can understand, but if a person is a technology or it's a technology startup, then of course the person might know that there is a vast difference between.
All right. All right. So, what do you think that what are the shortcomings that the students face after they graduate and when they step into the corporate world?
See, it's a very vast topic, and I think there's not just like one right answer to it. For this corporate and academia difference, I think Sir Mazhar and Hassan are better person because they are in academia right now. So they,
Yeah, yeah.
but so I think it's better to ask them this question.
All right. So, Mr. Dr. Hassan, would you like to write into it?
Yes, I can discuss this, this topic and try to answer this question. Basically, in my current position, not many people right now may know that, I am working in I2C as a director of technology for last 4 years, and for last 10 years, I've been working with different IT companies as a technical manager. Director of technology is also a technical manager. So in my current position, I do hire lots of data scientists, both experienced as well as fresh. So when I talk to them, I realize that these people who have studied data science courses, ML and AI courses, they probably they have never worked on, for example, Kaggle. They have never worked on data sets for different problems. So they usually work in some academic problem, and sometimes they are stuck with collecting or compiling data. So they have no idea what data sets are, how to use them to start with. They don't know what are the features, and what are the features that are already available in those data sets, and what are the features that we can probably produce ourselves. And then next step is what existing techniques other people have already used on them. So that's the gap. The gap is basically that from an academic perspective, we are not preparing students in many cases in a proper way. We are not giving them the proper exposure. For example, we should give them exposure to Kaggle and data sets, thousands of data sets that are already available there. So that's a key area that academia needs to improve. Then in our academia, one key problem is that people don't work. I would not say people. I would say our academic institutions. For example, they don't work on any specific domains and problems. So, for example, internationally, you would see groups working on medical imaging. Let's say you would find people or groups working on, financial fraud. So in Pakistan, you would not see any single group that is working on financial fraud. Probably I think there is not any. I mean, there is not any big group that has been working for last 5 years or 10 years on natural language processing. So when you don't have, in academia, you should expect to see people, groups within departments that have been working on certain problems for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So if somebody leaves, there are already 10, 15, 20 people, students and teachers who are working on that problem. These problems don't get solved that easily. People have been working on these problems for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. That's how, even if you look at fraud, because I'm close to that, you see that the leading organizations that work on fraud, they have been working on it for 20 years. So
right.
That's why, I mean, these improvements that people make, and we usually are the beneficiaries, they happen, quite slowly, incrementally. They don't happen like, all of a sudden something happens, साल दो में तो अगर आपने काम किया तो you can't even define the problem, you can't even collect the data set. So that's the difference. Our academia usually is not working on problems in a dedicated way. The problems that are related to our, for example, if you look at fraud is a problem that you would see in all organizations, all banks, and there are going to be hundreds of customers of this problem. But is there anybody working on this problem for for last 1 year, let alone last 5 years? So that's the gap. So if you don't work on
so let's take this,
and you don't work on them long enough, and you obviously then there are going to be gaps, and you don't connect your students with the real world data sets, and you don't introduce them, you don't train your students on them, then definitely they are going to lack the skills that they need in the industry.
So let's ask Mr. Mazhar about what academia is doing in AI ML. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Mazhar, how are you?
Walaikum salam. I want to say that mainly the gap between AI, machine learning, data science, and other subjects we are teaching. But in terms of teaching, we are not producing in the form of some products. So we have very specific students who adopted our courses as technical elective courses, but actually they have no interest. Motivated them that it's the future of Pakistan, AI, data science is the future. So now students' body are very keen about these subjects. So we are offering that kind of subjects, like we are offering big data subject, we are offering data science, natural language processing, machine learning, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. So we are teaching these kind of courses now. Earlier, we just studied like 2 courses, like data warehousing and data mining. That's all. So we are now the future. Now industry and academia is mapping. So in these kind of subjects, but the problem is that our students are. I just told you a little very specific. This is just subject oriented. They are linked with the subject oriented. They just pass out and they then go. So we will further improve their skills. So we want to further improve their skills. So in this part, I want to say some industrial people came and then they suggested that we are providing them some internships. So the industry are asking too much experience, like 2-year experience, 5-year experience. So sometimes students are asking, so we have no experience. So then what happened? So we did not apply in this job. So I want to say some, if Dr. Hassan is listening, means that if your organization I2C are offering these kind of jobs for data scientists and machine learning engineers, so you can take over fresh graduates, or even you can take over currently taking these kind of subjects. So it will be a two-way traffic. So we are teaching now in modern technologies. We are teaching Python, we are teaching Spark. In my course, I am involving Tableau and Power BI in business analyst jobs, so the requirement. So I want to further suggestions required from your end. So we will improve our education system. Then definitely we at the end we will produce such kind of student who will cater this market. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mazhar, for sharing your insight. So, like, what do you think? How academia is contributing towards AMI, ML in reducing the industry gap? How AML is contributing, academia is contributing?
First of all, we are offering this kind of subject in 7th and 8th semester. So at this semester, students have already chosen their FYP, their final year projects. They have about these kind of technologies and like deep learning. So they have no idea about this. So after taking parallelly, they are taking their FYP, they are doing their FYP. So then they realize that this subject is very important. So then वो हमेशा वही सोचते हैं कि जी ये वाला सब्जेक्ट तो इतना इम्पोर्टेंट था कि हमें इसमें FYP करना चाहिए था. तो उस तरह से फिर वो FYP का जो टाइम है वो हमारे और जो हमारा जो टेक्निकल कोर्सेज का जो टाइम है वो मिसमैच हो रहा होता है. तो उसमें FYP जो स्टूडेंट्स जो टेक कर रहे हैं वो लाइक वेब बेस्ड कोई प्रोजेक्ट बना रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, और FYP database system like FIP. So they are not doing that FIP. So FIP is a very important. If student will do some FIP in a good way, then definitely industry will catch them.
So ये अब आपको लगता है कि ज़्यादा practical approach है.
We are.
So this is so you think that
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही होगा ना practical अब आप FIP. हाँ. तो यही मेरे ख्याल से इंडस्ट्री भी यही चाहती है कि जी आपके जो बच्चे आते हैं हमारे पास उनको पता है जो करते हैं वो मिसमैच हो रहा होता है, वो अप्लाई किया होता है उन्होंने डेटा साइंस की जॉब के लिए और FIP उनका कोई वेब बेस्ड है, एंड्रॉइड बेस्ड है, इंटरेस्ट उनका डेवलप हो जाता है उनके कोर्स पढ़ने के बाद. लेकिन अल्टीमेटली ये महक भी मेरी स्टूडेंट है, इसको भी आइडिया होगा ये हम इस तरह के प्रोडक्ट्स अब प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. हम इस तरह के हमारे पास लोग हैं जो खुद डेटा साइंस में जा रहे हैं. तो ये है कि अब फ्यूचर में यही है कि इंडस्ट्री को हम कैसे
Thank you, Mr. Mazhar. Moving on, my next question is Mr. Dr. Hassan, if he is still listening us. Sir, what do you say how banks and financial institutions can benefit from AI and data science?
So, in our domain, as I said, we are working on a lot of different problems. Fraud analysis is one of them, and I would suggest Mr. Mazhar that, and all our academia that they should work on fraud analysis. Not only students, but academia should also, the faculty should also work on these problems. So, and they should work on this problem in a consistent way, So we should see that, people have been working on this problem for last 5 years, 10 years, and they are consistently improving the state of the art techniques that are available there. So that's how, they would connect with the industry like banks and so on. Apart from fraud analysis, definitely we need a lot of NLP skills. So for example, we are working on chatbots. So, the chatbots are these days not only used for, like a dumb, interaction between, but, they also perform a lot of actions for. They are becoming very intelligent, so they can get your statement, and they can do a lot of other functions for you. They can replace or complement your product support as well. They can complement your customer service and so on. So apart from answering basic questions that are already fed into them, the chatbots are becoming very intelligent. So we need a lot of NLP skills for those. And these NLP skills are also very important for other things like you know we have this call log analysis. So in banking and financial organizations, we have these huge um, uh, customer service operations where hundreds of agents talk to clients every day, and we have to analyze the calls. Right now, we are doing it manually, but we want to analyze those calls, using NLP and other AI techniques. So we need people for those, to develop those algorithms. Definitely, we want to improve our enterprise search capabilities. We want to improve, our configuration management, server management, and other functions. So for all these problems, we need data scientists. We need to develop better recommendation capabilities within financial institutions. We have been building our data science team for last 2 3 years, and we are still doing it. We expect that all our applications, all our functions will have the intelligence provided by data science and AI uh, uh, augmented in them, whatever function we have. So whether that is simple withdrawal of money, or whether that is analysis of our calls, or that is management of our servers or infrastructure, so whatever functions we have that we are providing to our customers, AI will be making them better.
All right. So, like you mentioned, that we need to have a lot of developers who have expertise in AI and ML. So, don't you think in coming years the AI is going to replace a lot?
So that is something that is already happening, and that is something that has happened for hundreds of years. So you can say that when the horse came in and horses started serving us, probably they replaced humans. And then when cars came in, they replaced horses. And when AI came in, what would happen is humans would start doing a lot less labor, and they would start a laborious job, and they would start doing a lot more intelligent job. So a lot of people will get affected. That's true. And it is the role of society and government to help those people, in many ways. Sometimes you just have to give them social security. In other cases, you have to train them and give them new jobs. So already in this world, we have factories that are dark factories, where 1,000 people or 5,000 people used to work. Now only 50 people are there, and they are not doing any work in that
All
factory.
right.
That's why we don't need any lights in them. They are just
Exactly.
looking after things.
Yeah,
So in the
exactly.
same way, we might need fewer people. In some cases, we might need a lot more people as well. But those people are not doing any manual labor. They are looking after things. They are
Actually,
there because
monitoring the process.
they are monitoring the process. They are providing the human element, the empathy, the intelligence, the creativity. So that they are adding human element to a process that is highly efficient. Like right now, most of the flights, they are being managed by computers, and the pilots are sitting there. They are looking after that. God knows if the computer, encounters an unforeseen scenario that it has not encountered before, and it may not make a wrong decision. In our world, every second might be an unforeseen scenario. and you can't put, the other people money, life, or well-being at risk. So today and tomorrow we can replace anybody and everybody,
All right.
but we will not be replacing them. We will, we will be complementing them. That's what is going to happen.
All right. So we have few questions from our attendees. This is open question. Anybody can answer. So Mr. Hassan Hafiz has asked, what is the scope of data science in other countries like USA and European countries as compared to Pakistan?
So we already know that even a fresh data scientist, probably they can earn more than $50,000, and if you are experienced, you can earn like $100,000 per year, and if you are very experienced, then you can probably earn over $200,000 per year as well. So there is a lot of experience. So there is a lot of demand for data scientists, and this demand is going to continue. The reason being that everything that we do today has to be complemented by data science, and there is no question about it. So if Pakistan is not doing it, or if your company is not doing it, somebody else will be doing it, and they will, then take over that domain.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hassan, for sharing your insights. I have one other question with Mr. Mazhar. Some student, Hassan, has asked that please recommend FYP projects for CS students in ML and AI.
Yeah, for regarding FIP, mostly students are working on recommended systems. So like earlier, Dr. Hassan said that now you can make a project of a chatbot. So with the help of natural language processing, and for you can apply some kind system and medical detection systems. So you can make these kind of projects with the applying using machine learning, deep learning. You can apply these kind of projects. Further, Dr. Hassan may add these things regarding fraudulent systems. So you can make some fraudulent kind of applications.
Right. Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Mazhar. And next question we have, I'll like to ask from Ms. Mehak. There is a student who asked, Hamza Kabir, and he asked, what possible skill set would be needed to become a good data scientist professional?
इसके लिए सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है कि आपकी स्टैटिस्टिक्स के ऊपर काफ़ी काम करने की ज़रूरत है. स्टैट्स बहुत इन्वॉल्व होती है क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली आपने डेटा को इवन डेटा एनालिसिस, डेटा माइनिंग, मशीन लर्निंग, जितनी भी हमारे पास सब डोमेन है एआई की, और उसके अंदर हमें ज़रूरत है. सेकेंडली, प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स होना लाजमी है. अच्छे या बुरे, आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि बहुत अच्छे प्रोग्राम, क्योंकि बहुत सारे जो नॉन टेक्निकल बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं लोग, उन्होंने भी डेटा साइंस पढ़ा होता है, राइट? तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उसके लिए आपको प्रोग्रामिंग बहुत अच्छी आनी चाहिए, बट येस, यू नीड टू हैव बेसिक प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स लाइक इन आर और पाइथन, जैसे सर मजहर ने कहा कि क्योंकि मैंने खुद भी उनसे पढ़ा, ही इज माय टीचर. सो बेसिकली हमारे ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स थे जो कि अकाउंटिंग बैकग्राउंड से थे या मेडिकल, इवन बायोटेक्नोलॉजी बैकग्राउंड से थे, और उनको प्रोग्रामिंग बिल्कुल नहीं आती थी. तो वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम. तो उसको कैटर करने के लिए यूनिवर्सिटीज और डिफरेंट ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज अवेलेबल हैं जो कि आपको बेसिक प्रोग्रामिंग सिखाते हैं, जो रिक्वायर्ड है आपके स्किल्स के लिए. ठीक है, तो ये जरूरी, ये दो चीजें आई थिंक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है.
जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच Mehak for your answer. And there's another student who asked, sir, how we use ML in predicting diseases. This question might be related to Mr. Mazhar, as he recommended this sort of information.
Yes. आप अगर मशीन लर्निंग पे काम कर रहे हैं, भी मेनली अगर मेडिकल की अगर आप डिजीजेस की बात कर रहे हो या तो उसमें इमेजेस पे भी काम हो सकता है, और आपके पास अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा भी हो सकता है. अगर आप अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड के थ्रू करें, देन यू विल अप्लाई मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम लाइक यू कैन अप्लाई decision tree type algorithm. And if you are using some MIR, X-ray and other CT scan like these kind of images, then definitely you will go through deep learning. We have a deep learning models like convolutional neural network. It is a better for a classification. So we have a convolutional. There are so many architecture now available in a CNN. So you can apply anyone. You can compare them. Now the efficient net is now it's a very optimized type of algorithm, optimized architecture. So you can use it.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your answer. There's another student, Hafza Murtaza, and they've asked, are the academic electives enough to have skills for data science? May I repeat the question?
I think what Hafsa Murtaza is
इसके
asking
लिए
is,
तो हम मिलके अगर कोई एक चीज बना लें एकेडमिया और जो है इंडस्ट्री के लोग कि क्या आपको किस किस्म के एकेडमिया के जो लोग हैं वो क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं और देन जो हमारे पास है इंडस्ट्री के जो लोग हैं वो क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं, वो उनकी क्या डिमांड है, ठीक है। तो उसके लिहाज से हम अपने स्किल्स को एक कॉमन बना लें, तो उस लिहाज से फिर हमारे कोर्सेज भी इसी लिहाज से एकेडमिया वाले पढ़ाएं। तो अब वैसे तो अभी इस टाइम तो एकेडमिया वाले मैं अपने एंड पे बता देता हूँ, फिर सेकंड इसको इंडस्ट्री के लोग इसको सेकंड करें कि क्या यही सब्जेक्ट हो सकते हैं, तो क्या हम वही से पढ़ा रहे हैं जो इंडस्ट्री वालों की डिमांड है, लाइक एज अ कोर सब्जेक्ट होता है और लीनियर अलजेब्रा, कैलकुलस, ये डिमांड है जो कि एक हमें इनिशियल लेवल पे हमारी कोर बनाती है। बाकी फिर देन हम अपने डेटा साइंस, लर्निंग, बिग डेटा, डीप लर्निंग और नेचुरल लैंग्वेज प्रोसेसिंग, डेटा वेयर हाउसिंग, ये सारे सब्जेक्ट्स हम पढ़ा रहे हैं। क्या यही सब्जेक्ट्स एक इंडस्ट्री को चाहिए? ये अब मैं क्वेश्चन पुट कर रहा हूँ इंडस्ट्री वाले लोगों से।
जी, over to you, sir, Dr. Hassan Amin.
Actually, as far as subjects are concerned, we do agree that our academia has been trying to address that gap. So, as far as subjects are concerned, it's okay. As far as outcome of those subjects is concerned, that's not okay. So, what we see is that, we get graduates who have studied, let's say, Python, who have studied data science, who have studied databases. But when we try to assess them against those skills, then, a student who has studied Python and then he has studied data science and, he has done a final year project that is related to data science, he would not know what is a data frame. He would not be able to write basic SQL queries as well. He would not be familiar or he would not be able to describe the data set that he was working on. So the real difference is not in the courses. So courses is pretty much okay. Probably the content of the courses is very much okay. If these courses don't have very good labs, then we should introduce very good labs. If those courses are, for example, I think those courses might benefit from, the problems that are available on Kaggle, from the data sets that are available on Kaggle, that the techniques, that the work that people are already doing there. So we can connect our students with, some real world problems over there. So it is, we have to make those courses and the outcome of those courses in terms of the quality of the students that we produce, that's very important. So we have, overcome the basic requirements. Now we have to kind of improve it to a level where, at least at a basic level, the students are well prepared. So हमें जो है ना बहुत ज़्यादा directions में भागने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. जो काम हम कर रहे हैं, if we can do it, to meet the highest standards on any 1, 2, or 3 given problems. Okay? Let's say we want to work on, the medical side of the data science problems. Let's say we want to work on cancer prediction. If we want to do that, then we have to do it, in a very concentrated way. Okay? If we want to work on fraud analysis is a problem that, all our banks, all our financial institutions need. Then we have to do it, in a concentrated way, and we have to do it in an in-depth way. ठीक है, ताकि स्टूडेंट जो है ना वो फ्रॉड एनालिसिस को भी समझे, उसके डेटा सेट्स को भी समझे, ही नोज हाउ टू वर्क ऑन दैट प्रॉब्लम. और कोई और प्रॉब्लम ले लें, चैट बॉट्स ले लें. ठीक है, अगर हमने चैट बॉट्स पे काम कराना है तो अगले 2 साल 3 साल तक हम जो है ना चैट बॉट्स पे काम करते रहें और उसको इम्प्रूव कराते रहें, ताकि वो जो इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स है ना उसके करीब हम आ जाए. हमारा स्टूडेंट जब चैट बॉट्स पे काम करके जाए, उसको चैट बॉट्स के बारे में ही नोज एवरीथिंग. ठीक है ना, ताकि गूगल भी उसको हायर करे, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट भी हायर करे. एवरीबॉडी इज रशिंग टू get that person from that institution, because these people know a lot about chatbots. They are, the authority on NLP and chatbots and this sort of things. So we have to be, authority on a subject as well. That's what is expected from our academia, and we have to work on that.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for answering the question. Yeah.
मेरा इसके ऊपर एक छोटा सा एक और मैंने ऐड करना है.
जी जरूर.
डॉक्टर हसन ने कहा कि हमें लैब्स और ज़रूरत, हमें प्रैक्टिकल वर्क की बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस बहुत ज़्यादा है. ऑब्वियसली आई एग्री विद दैट, बट प्रॉब्लम ये है कि एग्जांपल्स जो कैगल पे डेटा सेट्स हम लोगों को मिलते हैं वो बेसिकली किसी और मार्केट के लिए होते हैं. ठीक है, अगर मैं अमेजोन की बात करती हूँ, अगर हम ई कॉमर्स की बात करते हैं तो वो अमेजोन के डेटा सेट्स मौजूद हैं, नेटफ्लिक्स के डेटा सेट मौजूद है और हजारों ने. लेकिन आप ये चेक करें कि पाकिस्तान से रिलेटेड कितने डेटा सेट्स आपको मिलेंगे इस वक्त कैगल पे. मैंने खुद कैगल पे डेटा सेट्स में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है. सुसाइड अटेम्प्ट्स जो भी हुई हैं, उसके अलावा ड्रोन अटैक्स जो हुए हैं, उसके अलावा पाकिस्तान में कितने इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं, उनके अंदर कितने टीचर्स हैं, ये सब डेटा सेट्स पे मैंने खुद काम किया है और वो केगल पे मौजूद हैं. लेकिन पाकिस्तान से रिलेटेड आपको रियल वर्ल्ड प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं मिलेंगी. जब स्टूडेंट को उस तरह की प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं मिलेंगी तो उनका इंटरेस्ट ही डेवलप नहीं होगा. मुझे क्या लेना देना अमेजोन के उसके ऊपर प्रोडक्ट्स के और उसके ऊपर अपनी एनालिसिस करने का. मेरे लिए दराज ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, मैं उससे ज़्यादा अच्छे से कनेक्ट कर सकती हूँ. तो आई थिंक दैट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट कि हमारी जो एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, जो डेटा सेट्स मौजूद हैं, जैसे डॉक्टर हसन बार बार कह रहे हैं कि केगल पे काम नहीं करते हमारे स्टूडेंट्स, और दैट इज द ट्रूथ. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम ये कि केगल पे अगर हमारे पास इस तरह के डेटा सेट्स ही नहीं है, हमारे पास अपने हॉस्पिटल के कोविड रिलेटेड पेशेंट्स के ही डेटा अवेलेबल नहीं है, तो मैं उससे अच्छे से कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाऊंगी एज कम्पेयर टू कि अगर मैं मतलब अगर मेरे पास अपना कोई डेटा सेट हो या मैं खुद अपना कोई अच्छा डेटा सेट बना के उसके ऊपर काम कर रही हूँ. तो आई थिंक ये मोहम्मद अंस का जो एक क्वेश्चन है उसमें उन्होंने जो सेकंड क्वेश्चन, मैं फर्स्ट पोर्शन छोड़ूंगी टीचर्स के लिए, सेकंड पोर्शन जो यही है कि वो एकेडमिया और कितने अच्छे से एक दूसरे के साथ इंडस्ट्री इंगेज करते हैं पाकिस्तान में. तो बहुत कम ऐसे इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जो कि न्यू स्टूडेंट्स को चांस देंगे, क्योंकि जब मैं खुद यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ रही थी तो आई डिडंट गेट एन ऑफर फ्रॉम एनी इंडस्ट्री, और मेरे किसी कॉलीग को क्लास फेलो को ऐसी कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिली थी कि वो जाकर किसी इंडस्ट्री के लिए इंटर्नशिप पे काम करें. आई एम सॉरी टू से दैट, बट दैट्स द रियलिटी. बाकी ये डॉक्टर हसन या डॉक्टर मजहर जो हैं वो इसको रिस्पॉन्स देंगे.
Do we have Dr. Mazhar still with us? All right. So there is a question regarding what potential benefits a researcher can get from government. I mean, he wants to know about the sponsoring regarding this field in Pakistan.
So can you repeat your question? What exactly is the question? Sorry, your voice is mute. You muted yourself.
Yeah, sorry. So the question was, what are the potential benefits a researcher can get from the government in terms of sponsorships in this field?
So I think we have ICT R&D fund available. So there is some funding available, and probably from international organizations as well. You can get at least some funding. I think some of my colleagues recently did get ICT R&D funding for a data science related problem. So it is possible that if you work on some problem that and you would have to do maybe 6 months here or 2, you would have to work on that problem on your own. But once you do some work that meets certain criteria, then ICT R&D or some other international organization would be interested to fund your work as well.
All right.
So you can pick any problem of your choice, and you if you work on it for some time, then you would I'm sure that you would get some funding.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mazhar, for joining us again. Can you please turn on? Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So, thank you very much for everybody for joining this session. And
I want to say something.
yeah.
एक्चुअली जो अभी सभी डिस्कशंस हैं, अब हम इसको एक कंक्लूजन की तरफ भी ले जाएं. क्या ख्याल है अगर मैं एक इवेंट ऑर्गेनाइज करूं, एक हैकाथॉन इवेंट ऑर्गेनाइज करूं, मे बी आप CMX Connect भी इसको एज अ होस्ट करें और उसमें हम रियल प्रॉब्लम्स पे काम करवाएं स्टूडेंट से. मेरे पास स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिनको मैं टीच कर रहा हूँ, डेटा साइंस के स्टूडेंट्स हैं और भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं, और डेटा हैकाथॉन का एक कंपटीशन ऑर्गेनाइज करवाएं और लाइक डॉक्टर हसन में कोई प्रॉब्लम दें जो रियल प्रॉब्लम है, उनके डेटा सेट बेशक हो, उसको हम पब्लिक नहीं करेंगे, उसको एक सीक्रेट जिस तरह से डेटा प्राइवेसी होती है उसको देख लें, ठीक है, ताकि आप एक प्रॉब्लम दें और उससे हम स्टूडेंट्स को इस किस्म की प्रॉब्लम दें. फिर रियल टाइम पे जब वो एक 1 डे का एक इवेंट हो जिसमें वो पूरी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करें और देन कोई रिजल्ट आए, स्टूडेंट्स को आपकी तरफ से या इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से और भी इंडस्ट्री के लोग हों जो कि उनको जॉब्स की तरफ भी लेके जाएं और उनको उनकी जो विनिंग टीम है उनको डेफिनेटली ये चीज की तरफ अगर हम ले जाएं तो बहुत अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि एक तो रियल प्रॉब्लम मिलेगी और इंडस्ट्री के लोगों की जो है वो एवेल्युएट करें, उन लोगों को एज अ जज हम इनवाइट करें. लाइक अभी तो कोविड है, लाइक इट मे बी पॉसिबल कि आफ्टर जनवरी हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी दोबारा ओपन हो तो इसके बाद हम फरवरी में ये चीज अरेंज कर सकते हैं. तो क्या ख्याल अगर हम सब मिलके इसको इस तरीके से कोई इवेंट प्लान करें, देन सबके लिए एक अच्छी चीज हो जाए कि स्टूडेंट्स भी इसमें शामिल हों और इंडस्ट्री के लोग भी शामिल हों और आप CMX Connect वाले हमारे साथ एज अ पार्टनर शामिल हों.
जी बिल्कुल, ये we'll definitely talk about and discuss with the rest of the members, and we will always be there for such interaction, and that's totally be in our thought. We'll be discussing with our management. So we'll have a session for few minutes, 4 minutes, and thank you very much, Mr. Hassan, Mr. Mazhar, and Ms. Mehak for joining us and giving us insights about ALMI. And I hope that the attendees have uh, gained benefit from this session and insights which the industry experts have shared with us. So let's taking our session to networking, where the attendees will have a one-on-one session with each other regarding this session and what they actually have learned from it and what they have to talk about it.